You have more of these sheets.
Yeah.
I'm not off, yeah.
You mean more of the same or other ones? Another copy like this? That's what you meant. Because I have also another. I also have another sheet that's downstairs, also review sheet with different style. I'm not going to give both. It's too much.
No, I looked at
What all the answers.
So as everyone is ready, we could together.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
I'm not.
As long as you tried everything, when you try something first on your own and then you hear the answer, it sinks into your head much deeper than you just hear it just like that. If you have to work for something and to try to figure out, yeah, that's how it is. Then you're like, oh, now you get, oh, I thought this, but now I realize it comes together much better. Yeah.
So, what a vessel is.
The vessel.
Like how it's.
Right, in other words, the term vessel is ambiguous, a vessel. Like this is a vessel. This is a vessel. Don't call it, but it is a vessel. In the halachic language of the muktzah, we call it a keli shemalach, right? So we don't mean literally vessel, obviously. We mean this is a vessel. Vessel here means it's a keli. It has a function. It was manufactured. It was built in a way that it has a usable purpose.
And that's absolutely.
This is a keli. Now, it's a keli. Now, keli shemalach delisa. What is the halachic terminology for non-absolute muktzah? Keli, right here. Keli shemalach delisa. That's non-absolute. It's not a literal translation from the Kirsch,
like,
it's just a description of the halachic boundaries. It's just easier for people. So in English, when they write the books, they say non-absolute because they weren't just giving you what's the status. But because it's a keli, because it's a vessel, as opposed to it's
An iPad?
no, it's a keli as opposed to something that's broken. Now we have like a piece of broken.
Like if the iPad
Yeah.
doesn't turn on.
I had a piece of a 2x4, something broken sitting on the floor here. Not a keli, it's not a functional item. So keli is to describe that it's a functional item as opposed to something that's just broken and dysfunctional. So that's a keli. iPod is a keli. Now, a keli shemalach is now technically something that's a keli can also become absolute muktzah.
Which means you cannot touch it.
You can't move it at all. Example, muktzah machos a certain keys. Muktzah is very expensive. So, example, if you have, let's say, if you have an iPod that's, I don't know if it's a good example, but let's say it's very delicate. You know, anyone touching it, this is like a very sensitive item. That it could turn in this category. It depends.
And that means
Like it did. Let's say this, right?
What if it turns on? That's different.
This.
It would-
It's not necessarily absolute muktzah. It's something that's delicate. Not because it's a car is also very expensive. He said, doesn't make it look not something to see. Yes, this is something that's delicate. That they're very particular about anyone just moving it around anyway, and kids touching it. Let's say something that's it's delicate. It's expensive and delicate. So it's not. You see, it's not always so simple to figure out on your own. You have to analyze what's going on. How do you use it? You give it to people. You mind. It depends. It depends how it's used. I don't think usually iPod is in that category. I don't think so. Yeah.
One time, I was going to my sister's in Midtown. And I like get sprayed with like super delayed, and then I got there and saw this really so I turned my phone off and then put my backpack. But okay, I mean, assuming that there was error there.
You did it before Shabbos?
Yeah,
And you turned it up before
before
Shabbos?
But technically, a lot of the phones, like if you just touch it, it turns on. But if it's completely turned
I'm
on.
not getting what the question is. You turned off the phone before Shabbos?
Yeah, like carrying a phone. That's
And then you
turned on.
carried it on Shabbos and the sun set already, you see,
Yeah,
because you came late.
yeah.
So you were carrying on Shabbos.
Well, no, I wasn't carrying it. But there was an error.
Okay, so you're carrying the backpack with
Yeah,
the phone inside the backpack.
Yeah.
But you weren't touching the phone, you were
Yeah.
touching the backpack and the phone was inside.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another. So we're gonna learn soon about buses, base. If you have looks on top of a table, it's a table, come looks in. We're gonna talk about it.
does that mean the phone is?
But the phone is not absolute looks in.
But it could just hold it on my hand.
Why are you holding it?
Can't move it.
You're holding it. Yeah, but you're holding it because you want to protect it.
Yeah, but
Not
if
because
it's
you
on
want-
forever, that's okay, right?
No.
I don't, oh, right, no.
Okay, in the Issa, you cannot hold, you cannot move
Okay.
for the purpose of protecting it. You can only move it if you want to use it or if you need the space. So you're talking about moving it in your backpack when you're not touching the phone itself, by holding a backpack that has the phone inside together with other items. So we're gonna talk soon about buses.
Can I
It's the
hold it
topic,
in?
yeah, that you can do.
On the phone?
But I'm saying it goes into the category of muktzah on the table, the leichter, you put a challah, but it's a little different over here. But it's not absolute muktzah. But first, let's discuss that, and then we'll see how to apply it to that.
Wait,
Yes.
the four categories or five on the board, like most, Machmas,
Right.
most, Machmas.
Sorry, Keith.
Are these all categories of absolutely?
Yes,
Okay.
they're all absolute muktzah, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm not good, okay. Okay.
Wait, door detached from building. I have here the china closet is a KV, the door comes off of the china closet, and therefore you want it after Shabbos.
You want it, right, so we said if you want to repair it, you plan to repair it after Shabbos. And it's not something that's super complicated, they need a real professional. You need someone who knows what he's doing, but it's not like a major job. It can easily be repaired, screws, whatever. Then it's not muktzah. Then it retains its status of a china closet, which is a keli, shemalachti, lehetzer, like your table, like your chair is not muktzah. So china closet is not muktzah. Usually, I mean, hypothetically, it could, if it only has books in it, but that's not usually the case.
Basically, you can touch everything, unless they are
What?
useless. That's what I'm
Okay.
getting. Move anything if you need space.
No,
Yeah, I have one absolutely.
I need a space, someone left to push the right in front of my
you
desk, I
can't.
want to just, yeah. Right,
You really can't touch it.
right, this is absolute muktzah. Absolute muktzah, you can't move if you need the space.
That's true.
A lot of absolute muktzah, there are. Money, shells, we're gonna go through it.
So nice.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, it wasn't so practical, but on this sheet I had it. Shechet's knife is absolute muktzah. Absolute muktzah.
It's different, like.
A sheichet's knife is extremely delicate. Besides that, it's not going to the discussion about being dangerous. Forget about being dangerous with children for sure, even with adults. A sheichet does not want anyone touching his knife because it's extremely delicate. Has to be smooth, can't have any nicks. They spend hours and hours practicing and learning how to make sure the knife is kosher. You know that? It's a whole skill. In order for a sheikh to become a sheikh, he has to be tested by someone or by Rav who's professional in a knife. He has to see that he knows before he uses the knife, he has to take the knife. And go like this to make sure that there's no nicks, there's no cracks in it. Mamish smooth. So a sheikh is very particular about anyone touching his knife. Not never going to use the knife for anything else. So it becomes absolute muktzah. The interesting thing is that a moil's knife is also absolute muktzah, even though you can do a bris and Shabbos, but it's still absolute muktzah. Why? I'm not sure, but that's clearly the halacha. So obviously you can use it for moil's doing a bris and Shabbos. And obviously you're allowed, but if not, it's absolute muktzah.
So construction material is absolutely must because.
Because it has no function. It's not a key. So construction material goes into the category here, muktzeh machmas gufay, because of itself, because of its body, the way it is. It has no function. It can't, it has no designated purpose. So it means which it means essentially it's already removed from your mind. Meaning, even if there was not a prohibition of muktzeh, all these items are already in a certain way removed from your mind. Now but the prohibition of muktzeh comes in and says, oh, things that are removed from your mind, we're not allowed to move. But it starts off with the idea that these things are removed from your mind. It's like something has no purpose. It's like totally removed from your mind. What am I nothing to do with it? Now Baruch says, okay, now this is muktzeh, you can't move.
If I put on gloves. Is that an
No.
extension of my hand?
Yes, for sure.
Dang
For sure. What do you mean?
Just
For
be
sure.
safe.
Even
Oh, man. Cause I was thinking, there's a video that my. mom
Even
was
if
like,
you use a
like,
stick, let's say you use something that's not muktzeh at all. Let's say you have like a long stick that's not muktzeh at all, let's say. Yeah? Usually a stick is muktzeh. But let's say it's not muktzeh, right?
Yeah.
That's considered that's considered an extension of the hand.
What if you strap the stick to like your arm like this,
You know,
and then it's got the palm
that's the stick.
extending from like the back. Then I just go, oh, what about prosthetic? Is that an extension of your hand? Prosthetic limb?
Someone doesn't have
Yeah. Are they like those everything? Is that like their carrying?
it. Sure, it's an extension of the hand. Sure.
But it's an extension of their arm, not their hand.
Ariella?
It's an extension. Sure. Should never have these questions.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, everybody's ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so let's start with a hammer.
Wait,
Not absolute.
not absolute. Yeah,
Non-absolute.
under safer. Wait,
Right.
or you can use it, crack.
Correct. You can use it for any permitted purpose.
No, I'm absolute.
Raw eggs,
Absolute.
huh?
Put absolute with them.
Non,
Oh, wait, the eggs were weird. Cause you will eat them raw, so they are
they're not
non.
muktzeh.
Oh, yeah.
They're not muktzeh.
They're not both sides, cross it out.
Right.
Um,
Raw meat,
Wait. That's.
Raw meat is absolute.
Absolute.
right? The sponge,
Wait,
yeah.
I'm trying to get this on here.
Got it?
Sponge is non.
Sponge,
Thanks.
okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm done. Okay, thanks.
Sponge, the sponge,
Non-absolute.
non-absolute. Blech,
Cross it out, no,
no, sewing needle,
non-absolute,
a passport,
absolute,
a pen,
non-absolute,
pencil,
non-absolute,
stones,
absolute,
paint,
absolute,
merchandise for sale.
absolute.
Right, so we're discussing the usual case where you're particular about it because otherwise you can't sell it.
And then
So if you
non-absolute.
plan to sell it, you don't want anyone touching it, opening up the box, using it, you want to be able to sell it.
They're non-absolute.
It's absolutely muktzeh.
Uh,
So you have an item that's essentially non-muktzeh item at all, but because it's for sale, you're particular about it. You open up the box and you know, once it's tampered with, you won't be able to sell it. You don't want anyone opening up the boxes of this item that you're selling because you want to be able to sell it. So you're particular about it. So it becomes absolute muktzeh, assuming that's the case. Empty wallet. We never discussed this, but Al Rebbe has a discussion about it. It seems from the Al Rebbe, assuming that in your wallet, people keep, what do people keep in their wallets? They keep money, they keep credit cards, they keep items that are absolutely. So if it's empty, it's a machlokes in what category it goes into. Now, Tzedakah says you should be strict and treat it like absolute muktzah.
And what if it's like an expensive wallet, you're like. You'd be empty, but it's still very expensive, there are expensive items.
Expensive items don't become absolute muktzah just because they're expensive. Listen, let me just first finish with this, just clarify this point over here. So I'm discussing an empty wallet that was already used. Empty wallet that was already used had money in it and it was used, and now there's nothing in it. Now to them is strict. Now to them you should be strict and deal with it like as if it's absolute muktzah. An empty wallet that was never used before, I'm not sure. I'm still looking into that. It could be a little different. Oh, by the way, we had last time the question about the papers, right? Loosely papers. So the way it comes out like this, if it's a notebook that a binder that has loosely papers, that it's meant to be taken out. It's not meant to stay there. You use it, you take it out, and then that those papers are absolute muktzah. The blank papers are absolute muktzah. Now, the question is, have other papers in there? Now, other papers are not. You have writing on it. So what's the deal with the whole binder? Well, then it goes into the discussion of, we're going to discuss later about buses, a base. But if you have a table, you have muktzah, non-muktzah on it. So how do you deal with it? We'll discuss.
Why is it mixed?
Blank paper is absolute muktzah.
Yeah, I know that. But
So you have a binder that has blank paper and written paper. The written paper, assuming is not bills or money issues, things that entitled things that you wrote that are not muktzah. So the blank paper, because it's not meant to stay there, it's meant to be taken out. The blank paper is absolute muktzah. Now the question is, can I use the binder? So I'm saying that goes into the discussion, which we'll discuss later, about buses, base.
Okay.
Leichter on the table, and the schal, you have both. Okay, so how do we deal with it? Fine, so we'll talk about it. But the basic picture is that now you have absolute muktzah and non-muktzah. That's what you have now. If it's attached together, we spoke about over here about if it's either in a binder, either in a spiral thing, or it's bound together. If you have pages that are written, that you wrote there, that you wrote things of Torah that are not muktzah, and you plan to continue writing in it, it seems from what I've seen up to now that the whole binder is one thing. You're using it for writing, and there shouldn't be any problem. I'm still wondering, what about if you just turn the other papers? Doesn't mean you can just turn the other papers? But I haven't found anything conclusive about it. But it seems that because it's one thing, and you have Torah writing in there, Torah, or any writing that's not muktzah. There's a separate discussion about writings, things that are written are muktzah not. I'll discuss it separately. Some things that are written could be muktzah. We'll talk about it. It's a whole discussion in itself.
So overwhelming.
Okay, generally medical books, things that are seichel,
Like all my
intellectual
clothes.
concepts. Explain. I'll give you a general. General things that are more like studying, like let's say medicine, science, things like that, are not muktzah. But things that are more like business, or just magazines, catalogs, it becomes an issue. But we could talk about it more in another class in itself. There's a lot of there's details involved, which I want to focus now on this.
Jewish book.
Jewish books are great.
Great. You.
Yeah.
Like
What do you mean
books
Jewish
at all.
books? You mean Torah?
Yeah. I think we like the Homer song. Okay.
Like the what?
I don't read, there's a song called the Homer song.
Homer?
It's a joke song about like the extra shirts the way like your show up, like I tie extra knots and like this is one of the things. Yeah,
It's probably not, I
knocked
can't,
out
I
the
can't say,
whole house On the little Iyar, like,
can't say for sure, it's not muktzah. I mean, anything could be if they, just because it's about, it's called Jewish, but if they write in a certain way, it could theoretically become an issue, but usually not, it shouldn't be a problem. Okay, eggshells,
Mitzvah, absolute mitzvah.
the scale,
Wait, yes, I was right.
eggshells, absolute, yes, a scale,
Absolute mitzvah.
it's a key. Kima, anything that's a vessel, it's a usable functional item, and it's not delicate, it's not
Yeah.
expensive that you're particular.
The scale, other.
Yeah, people call them muktzah because it's not, you're not supposed to use it in Shabbos, right?
Well,
You're not supposed to use these items also in Shabbos, but it's non-absolute muktzah.
the scales we like know of are like all electronic. Any touching would make it turn on.
Okay, so you can, right, so you're not allowed to use it, just like this, I can't use. So then you can't, more delicate, touching it is used, but you can't use it, but it's a king,
You can't use
it's
scissors.
still a king.
What if you have another use for it?
I'm not to use scissors, I want to cut tissue.
No, you can't do that.
You're not allowed, so for what this is meant to be used, I can't use it, it's a question mark, listen, I can't do this in Shabbos, right?
I want to use. Wait, the scale.
Okay, a scale, so it's electrical item. It's the way it's meant to be, by the way, not all electrical items are necessarily muktzah. We'll
So
talk
it's
about it
absolute
more,
mitzvah.
even non-absolute,
No,
not
how is it
necessarily.
scale?
The scale in our door, like, it's very sensitive, so any movement of it could make it turn on.
Fine, so you can't move it because you might be doing a malacha,
Yeah,
that's something else.
but it's still not absolute.
But like the one we
It could be non-absolute,
Touch it and won't turn on, you put the on button
right,
to move it on and out. So then.
doesn't mean it's absolute muktzah, it could be, it's technically non-absolute, but I still can't move it for its space because I might be doing malacha, I might be turning something on,
Car keys.
Wait, the scale is not absolute.
it's non-absolute. Yeah.
So,
Car
I
keys.
even underlined it like I knew that, but I was still arguing.
Yeah. Car keys,
Absolute, Maryland never argues.
Car
Even
keys?
Non-absolute,
huh?
non-absolute.
Non-absolute, correct. Driver's license,
Absolutely.
Non,
pits and peels, non,
is driver's license non-absolute? Is it an
Absolute.
important document? Oh, it's an important
it's
document.
absolute, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cause I did the passport at absolute.
Absolute, yeah.
Drivers, I don't.
It's
care
the
if
same
and
idea,
peels,
it's the same idea, just spread it out like this.
Right.
Pits and
It's
peels
a-
are absolute.
Huh? Pits and peels not edible, to animals and neighbors, it goes together, not animals to animals and neighbors. It's absolute, yeah. If animals can eat it, animals that people, that's common that people have. Yeah,
Yeah.
not something that's, people don't, we said that people don't usually have that animal, just one person happens to have this interesting animal that eats this type of peel, it doesn't help.
Interesting animal.
You can
Yeah.
all get into the animal.
Yeah.
We have you, we're good.
I
was in time.
Okay. Okay, but that's not smoke, it's, 1 second, what status is this pits and peels? Not edible to animals, neighbor, it becomes absolute, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so there is a way. Okay, we'll talk about it separately, how to move, there's a way how to move muktzah. There is a way how you can move pits and peels on Shabbos.
That was absolute.
You
You
know-
put bread.
Yeah, it's absolute muktzah the way it is. Oh, you know, okay, you already know, so we're gonna discuss it, but
Well,
they say,
well, if you're cutting like for a salad, you would do it into the trash. But if it's on your plate, didn't we talk about the bones?
there's bread, yeah,
And then
yeah,
you just
okay.
put things that are edible with it.
You put bread, if there's bread there in the plate. Then you can move the plate with the bread and the muktzah together. And you can move it to the garbage can, and you could, while you're holding the plate and the bread, you could, you know, turn the plate to the muktzah should fall into the garbage. and you're left with a plate that has the bread on it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking about like clearing the table. Like, details about that.
Okay, so
What if I have like a bowl of soup and there's like bones in there, but everything else is gone and kind of put them right in the bowl?
okay, so we'll talk about it more. Mr. Shem will get to it. We'll talk about it. Toaster oven, lipstick. I believe it's non-absolute because it's a functional item that's used, which you can't use in Shabbos.
So it's absolute.
I assume it's non-absolute. I don't think it's absolute. Mixing.
Paper clips.
Paper clips. What is it?
No,
Paper clips holds,
I know you put it through the center of the red fire.
yeah, you can hold papers together. Not all papers are muktzah.
It's not.
Why should it be muktzah? An umbrella,
maybe it's into the iron.
Iron expensive.
hmm?
We went down the line there.
Oh, like iron,
Non-absolute.
expensive camera.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, really, we have to explain what expensive. It's not really about expensive. I mean expensive, but also very particular about it.
Yeah.
Like you don't want anyone moving it or just using it for something, amateur gonna use your camera, or you're gonna use it like to hold up a safe on it. It's even so it's not. You can't just okay, expensive, yeah, it's very expensive. I paid $500. That's it. It has to be in a certain category where you're particular about it, that you don't want anyone using it for anything else. Yeah.
That just made me think of something. Then what about like an expensive table? That you're not.
You can
wearing?
use
An
that.
expensive, what about expensive china that you have in your closet, in your china closet? China, cutlery, very expensive.
You're
It's not about expensive. It's not just that it's expensive. You
It's
can't,
not particular, I
you-
want other.
you have a very expensive car. It's not about the expense, it's the result. Because it's expensive, you're particular about it, how you allow people to use it in general.
Yeah.
So you have an expensive shaitel, but it's meant to be used. It's a usable item, it's a functional item. We're talking about expensive and you're particular about it. It's expensive and usually, in other words, it's expensive and it's something that you're not allowed to use on Shabbos. Usually that it goes together. You're not allowed to use it on Shabbos, so to start with, it has no function on Shabbos. And you're very particular about it, so therefore there's nothing else you can do with it on Shabbos. So the result is absolute muktzah. It's something that's a functional item on Shabbos, so it's a usable item on Shabbos. It's expensive china, cutlery, it's expensive, but it's usable, it's functional. It's meant to be used. Why should it be muktzah? In other words, something that you're not allowed to use comes as a result that it has no function. It can't, there's nothing to do with it on Shabbos. So the result is it becomes muktzah.
It's like, you don't lose forever, right? The camera is your fault, like on the photographer under a particular.
It goes according to the owner, correct. It goes by the owner. Flashlight, non-absolute. Blank paper, yeah, we discussed it, it's absolute muktzah.
Wait, a flashlight is absolute?
No.
No, blank
Um,
paper is absolute muktzah. Umbrella,
Absolutely.
non-absolute. Why should it be absolute? It's a keli, it's a functional item. A measuring cup,
Not local?
are you allowed to measure on Shabbos, generally speaking?
No.
No, generally you cannot measure on Shabbos. It comes non-absolute muktzah,
Non-absolute.
non-absolute, right? It's a keli, not a delicate item that no one can touch, it's a measuring cup. Like a scale, same idea, scale, measuring, all the things you can't use in Shabbos. You need a space, you can move it. Envelopes, I assume it's not muktzah at all. Envelopes, you could put papers in there that are not muktzah.
And then it's on here, so then what do we put?
You could put the l'chaim, the Vatera, the story you got there, you could fold it up, put an envelope, you can mail it to someone. It can be used for anything, not just for muktzah papers. I don't see why it should be muktzah. Yeah, a fly swatter. No, an absolute, because you can't, for what it's meant for, it's to kill flies. So it's a kiddush machnisim. A door detached from the building.
I can't fix absolute. If I can't fix it, then it becomes.
No, detached from the building. The handle comes out, the lock comes out, the door comes off the hinges.
They're gonna call somebody to fix it.
No, it's irrelevant, because it's part of the building.
Oh,
Doesn't make a difference. Doesn't matter if you could do, I know I could do it yourself, it's very simple, after Shabbos, one screw and put it right back in. It doesn't matter, it's absolute muktzah, because the door was never a vessel. It was functional while it was attached to the building, but it's never called a keli, it's a house, is not a vessel. So as soon as that it's not functional anymore, muktzah. The door coming from the china closet, story.
the cord.
That's next one, door detached from the china closet.
No.
If you're able to, if you plan to repair it, and it's not so complicated, it's not, again, this could be a little complex, which sometimes you won't be able to figure out on your own, what's the status. Because if it broke in such a way that you need to hire a repairman, and it's gonna cost you because it's a big job, because the wood broke off of the screw and you know the piece, and it's a whole big job, then it could be absolute muktzah. It's not something that could tell you clearly. There's multiple situations where multiple scenarios of the door of a china closet coming off and what's going on, what needs to be repaired. Well, it can be anywhere from A to Z. What's the situation? So I can't tell you a clear picture. It comes up. There can be situations. So I'm saying when it's easy to repair, easy meaning, yeah, you can't repair it. You have to hire someone. Okay, but he's going to come and he's going to get screws. He's going to do a job. You pay him, whatever it costs, not like a major job. Then it's not muktzah. But if it's a big job that you need really, if it's a big job, then it could become an issue. Just like a keli that breaks. Remember we said a keli that's. Now wait to understand. Let me finish this point. Absolutely. In other words, why are we saying if it's so difficult to repair, it could become absolute muktzah? What happens if a keli, a vessel falls on the floor and it smashes to pieces? It's muktzah because it's not functional, right? Now, could you theoretically repair it? Yeah, you can take the glass, you can melt it down, you can make it back. That's a big job. So the same idea, if the china closet comes up in a way where it's complicated to repair and you need a professional to do it, it could be absolute muktzah.
They're absolutely nothing.
Correct.
Books at all.
It's either absolute or it's not muktzah at all. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Let's stop here.
We'll finish it.
Yeah. It's a Monday.
Thank you.
Okay. Shabbos, everyone.
Right.